Hi everybody, Donald Dem here with Floating Feathers Kayak Fly Fishing School. I'm actually out here rigging up some boats today, and I'm putting on some anchor trolleys from YakAttack. This is the YakAttack lever lock anchor trolley, and what happens is that in the unlocked position you put your anchor line through here, you let your anchor hang down, and you can now move this and position that anchor wherever you want to, anywhere alongside that boat. And then when you get to where you want to, it actually has a little lever and it locks it, lever lock, and now it will hardly move, right? So it works out really, really nice. It's really easy to install, and we're actually doing it on the Crescent lineup today. I've got almost all my boats done, but we're going to do this on the Crescent Ultra Lite. They're 10'2" kayak. So really simple. The kit is a YakAttack lever lock anchor trolley. It comes in an HD model if you've got a really heavy boat, and the HD model has a little bracket on the back end that you can kind of, if you can reach inside the kayak, it offers a little more oomph for your heavier kayaks. But this kayak being 46 pounds, we don't need the HD, all right? So inside that pack, you're going to get all the stuff that's going to have an excessively long amount of reflective 550 cord, all made in the USA, as all YakAttack pieces are. Got all your hardware and all your pieces. You've got 2 pulleys, you've got 2 pad eyes, and the actual anchor ring and the anchor lever lock itself. So we're going to get started really quick. What you need is a drill and a 1/8 inch drill bit, a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, a pair of scissors or a knife, and a lighter or a match or something to burn the end of the 550 cord once you cut it. So what we're going to do is you have to mount this anchor trolley so that your anchor sits right at or just below the chine or the water line, however you want to say that, on your kayak. All kayaks, very rarely does this part go in the water unless you're standing on the very front, which is fine if you can do that, but in a practical world, unless you're getting a fly line out of a tree, there's really no sense in doing that. So in order for this anchor line not to go up on top of the boat or not to go too far underneath, you have to kind of position these in just the right spot. So I've already done 2 boats. This is the 3rd one, and I've got it figured out. So not only is this just a install video, but it's also this is how you install it exactly on Crescent Ultralight Kayak. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab one of our pulleys and our drill, and we're going to come all the way to the front. And if you can see it up here, we're going to get right below the chine, but right above the actual last fold of the kayak. So we're going to line it up with this screw of the handle, okay? And what we're going to do is position this pulley so that that middle screw and this middle hole is lined up right with the handle of the kayak itself. I'm just going to drill a hole. Yes, I know if it's a brand new kayak, nobody wants to put a hole in a little plastic boat. But these screws, as long as you're using a 1/8 inch drill bit, they will seal themselves. Now, if you want to go one extra step and put some goop or marine sealant or something on there, you can do that. But in all honesty, it's not really going to leak. If you just want that peace of mind, then go for it. So we're going to tighten that screw. We're not going to tighten it all the way, almost tight, just so you can get a little bit of movement, so that we can position this pulley so that's right in line with the way the flow of the boat. You see, it's not. I don't want it kicked back like this, right? I want it kind of in line with the weight of the boat, the natural flow of the boat, so it all looks pretty and looks good, and it's really functional when it's done. So once we get that positioned, we're going to drill our second hole. Grab our longer of the two types of screws. So you've got 2 sizes of screws in the lever lock anchor trolley system. The longer ones are going to go on your pulleys, the shorter ones are going to go on your pad eyes and the actual lever lock. And the reason for that is the pulleys is where all your weight is at. So now we're going to grab the rear pulley, and we're going to line this up, the middle of the pulley with the middle of the pad eye that's on the rear back here, okay? So we're just going to line this up, and again, just below the chine. So we're going to line that up right in the middle of that pad eye, drill that hole, put your screw in it, and they're barely fully tight. Okay, the last thing you're going to do once we get everything done is go ahead and just tighten all those screws. So I just leave that just a little bit loose, just so I can position that. And again, you don't want it going up and down like this. You don't want it straight up and down. That's really not doing anything right. So we want that nice and flow with the line of the boat. So once we get that position where we want it, put that drill bit in the center, tap your hole, put in your screw. Pardon me, I'm going to swap sides here, so there we go. So now I've got these two pulleys positioned where I want, and I know that's where I want them. So now I'm going to go ahead and make sure they're pretty tight. And anytime, I'm going to go to the front and do the same thing. Anytime you install any kind of hardware on your kayak, doesn't matter if it's an anchor trolley, an anchor cleat, handle, whatever it may be, always go back and make sure your hardware is tight, and check periodically just to make sure that it hasn't loosened up and transport, or when you tighten the straps down or anything like that. Now we're going to install the lever lock itself, and the instructions come with the kit. And this little lever lock has got a side with two little holes in it and a side without two little holes. You see the little indents on this side? And there's no indents on this side. What we're going to do is, excuse me, is put those indents against the actual piece of plastic. So we don't want to see those indents. We see USA on this side. We want to see USA on this side. All right? So we're going to line this up. And I played with a few different positions, and because I have such a variety of clients and height of clients, their arm lengths differ. So the seat's going to sit right here. This is about the middle of the seat. So this is where the middle of the person's going to be sitting. And this is going to be just, if you just drop your hand down and reach back, that's where this lever is going to be. So we're going to put this lever above the chine, not below it, above it. So we're going to come about 2/3 of the way down. I come about an inch off of the chine, okay? And I'm just going to start a hole, and I'm just going to look, and I'm going to go right. I want the middle of my lever to go just at the front of that last seat. You see in here where the seat legs sit in? So I want the middle of this to go right about in line with that, okay? And about an inch off the chine. So we're just going to tap one little hole here. Okay. Tighten that just enough so it's got a little movement, and make sure that's straight. Drill the next hole. Put your screw in, tighten it. All right, just like that. Now we're going to turn it about 4 turns on each one to loosen it just a little bit, because we want this anchor to the lever to come off just a touch. Okay, this is going to sit right in here like this. Just hang on. It's just going to hang on there for a minute, and then we're going to get our actual paracord here, and I'm going to try to do this without tangling it up. So I've got the camera out, so naturally I'm going to tangle it all up, right? That's how it works. So just going to toss this, and when I say it's excessively long, I really don't care what kind of kayak you have, what size it is. This is going to be more than long enough. So I'm going to get this stretched out, and we're going to come back. Okay, welcome back. You might see the lighting's a little bit different. Our break took a lot longer. Not only did I have to get the string and cord, the 550 cord, paracord, whatever, untangled, it actually rained on us. So some of you don't know, actually we're located in North Alabama, and the rain combined with a 90-something degree heat, it's wonderful, I can tell you that. Okay, so I'm going to try to get through this as quick as I can, because it's hot, it's sweaty, it's muggy. So you take your cord, and you're going to take your little ring that actually attaches to your anchor. You're just going to bring it through, and you're going to do a real quick overhand knot. So you're going to go one time, make a little loop, and then back through. So that's just a real quick overhand knot, nothing fancy. You don't need a Boy Scout badge to do this. You just put a knot in it, okay? And there we go. All right, now I'm just gonna kind of put, remember this is a little loose, right? And we're just gonna run this back to this rear pulley. Now on this rear pulley, we're gonna stick it straight down and come out the bottom just like that. It'll turn on us. Then I'm gonna come on this side. And, as you start to pull this through, you just wanna make sure you don't get snagged on anything, okay? Nice and easy. Then come all the way to the front. And on the front pulley, you're gonna come from the bottom up. So we're gonna take the bottom and come up to the top of the pulley, just like that. You're gonna walk back to the middle here. Pull that cord as you go. Make sure we're not snagged on anything. Okay. And when you come back to the middle here, you're going to take your end of your paracord and come from the back side again, but you're not going to tie a knot in it yet. You're just going to pull it through. So we're just going to pull all this through, and I'm just going to kind of sit it right here on that lever. Get my slack off the bottom. All right. And as you can see, right, that bottom line wants to drop down right below the chine. And if you're on the water, that's not a good thing, because now your entire anchor line's in the water, it gets snagged on trees, limbs, rocks, whatever. So in order to prevent that, this kit comes with 2 pad eyes, and the pad eyes look just like this. So it has 2 mounting holes, it has a little slot in the middle, and it has like a little ear or tab, if you will, and it's going to mount just like that against the side of the kayak. So one string is going to go through here, and the other string is going to catch on the bottom. So as it starts to come up, that little ear, if you will catch the string. So we're going to mount this about halfway between your handle, or your lever rather, and your front pulley. So after looking around and after doing a couple of these, I figured out that if you line it up directly, if you line this up directly in the front of the actual plastic where it starts to dip down, not the mount, but the actual plastic, and you need to come down, you're going to keep this just above the chine, okay? So you can line it up right about the chine, or excuse me, right about the level with that plastic, and you're going to make sure that this tip, right, is just at the chine, okay? See, that's just at the chine right there. That's the tip of it, and you're going to just pick a hole. It doesn't really matter. You're just going to drill one hole, grab your screwdriver, your number 2 screwdriver, and put that one in there. And again, we're going to tighten it just enough so that it doesn't move freely. It's going to take a little bit of effort to move it, okay? Just a little bit like that, all right? So just like that, just for a second. Now what we want to do is make sure that our bottom line, and what I mean by bottom line is not the one that it has the ring on it, okay? We want to make sure that, hang on, I got some stuff tangled up here, so give me just a second. There we go. So we want to take the one that's gonna come up top, okay? That one, all right? And we just want to leave it off over to the side. This bottom one, the one that goes on the bottom side of your pulley, is going to go in that little slot, right? So you see that little slot right there? Right, that's where it's going to go. So it's going to sit in that little slot, and we're just going to kind of run it through there. Get this straight up and down as you can. Make your hole. Put in your screw. Tighten your bottom screw, and you're good. Now you're going to do the same thing on the back. So I'm going to grab my pad eye. I'm going to come right about halfway between, and it's going to be if all these stickers align, which they should, that's going to be right below your R. And I've measured 3 of these now, and they're all these stickers the exact same spot. So kudos on your production there. So now you can go ahead and put that string in there if you want, or you can leave it out. But make sure it's the one on the bottom of the pulley. Okay. Not the top of the pulley, the bottom of the pulley. Right below that R, and again, your little ear, if you will, is going to go right even with that chine. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this bottom one first. So there's the hole. And where's my screws? There they are. Kind of hiding from me there. I was like, I know I just put them back there. You guys watched it. So, put that screw in. It's almost tight. Make sure you get the one that goes on the bottom of the pulley. Slip it over there. All right. Make sure it's straight up and down as possible, just like we did the other one. Make your hole. Grab your screw. Put your screw in there. Tighten it, and then tighten your bottom screw. And that is all the holes we're going to drill. That's it. That's the last hole. That is the last screw that we're going to install. So if just put your tools out of the way. Now what we're going to do is get our cord. I just got that up out of our way so you guys can see a little bit better. Okay, so now this is just going to move freely. Okay, so if you guys come up to this one that's already done, all right, what happens is we want this cord, okay, which if you look is the same one that's running through your pad eyes, right, front and back. We want that one to go through that middle, right? There's a slot in here just the same way. What that does, right, is stops it and locks it. Okay, so that's the lever lock. All right, so what we want to do now is take up a lot of our slack. Okay, and I just like to let this right here. Remember, we left this loose, right, and we can pop that in when we're done. So tighten this just a little bit. You want to get too tight. You just want it on that ear and on that ear. Okay, and you're going to make a knot, a real quick knot, a little half knot, right? Take it over and under, pull out all your excess. Okay, there you go. You're going to do this 4 or 5 times. I'm trying to do this as fast as possible, so I may not talk to you just a minute. You just want to keep this nice and tight. And the reason we do this 4 or 5 times is, one, it's constantly tightening on itself, and it gives it a little more strength. But 2, it also gives us a little extra 550 cord if something happens and we need to make an adjustment. We've got a little extra length there. So 4 or 5 little half knots right on top of each other. Okay, and then on your last knot, whatever you do 4 or 5, pull it through. Then you're going to take the end of it, you're going to stick it through the knot again, just like this. Okay, so come up from underneath and you're just going to stick it through. And then as you start to come up and you get to the end, and of course it's been twisting on me as I've been tightening this. Now when you tighten, you're going to pull, 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 and there you go. So now it's tight. Now it's tight just like this. Now you're going to grab your scissors and your burning utensil, whatever your burning device is going to be. You're going to snip this is about 1/8 of an inch. You want just a little tag end hanging out, just a little bit, just like that, right? So take your torch, all right, and the end we cut off, because this is a lot of cord here. It's probably another 20 feet or so. So we're just going to turn our torch on and we're going to melt that so it doesn't come apart on us. So I just stick it to the metal or something and just let it cool. All right. Okay, so we burnt the excess end. Now we're going to do the same thing with this. So that little tag went out. Pull it away from the kayak so you don't burn your kayak, right? Nobody wants to melt their kayak. It is plastic after all. So there you go. Blow on it a little bit. That's a nice tight knot. So now, remember this was a little bit loose, right? And I may have tightened it a little bit too much. So we're going to loosen that just a little bit. And now you take that line that goes between your eyelid up here and your eyelid in the rear. We're going to run it right there, right in there. You have to have that in an unlocked position for it to fit in there. You're going to tighten your 2 screws. 1, 2. All right. Now it'll slide and it'll lock. Nice stowed position. Unlock it. Put it there. Locked. This kind of sits there nice and easy. So that is the install on a YakAttack lever lock trolley on a Crescent Kayaks ultralight kayak. Thank you. If you got any questions, you got any tool lists or any questions like that, just ask in the comments below. Thank you. See you next time. Again, Donald Dem with Kayak Floating Feathers Kayak Fly Fishing School and Crescent line of kayaks. Live in the current.